Why do I go live?
You're live.
We're live.
How do we know?
Hey.
How do I know if I'm live?
Because it says live
Where?
right there.
Oh, in the corner.
Yeah, it says live. And then you
We
can
are
go to like
live.
the comments and then
Ooh, comments. Hey, we want you to comment. We're looking at the comments right now.
Yep, there we go. Oh, hey, what's up?
What's up?
What's up? Hey, Chad. Yo, here with Kinsey Dodds on his first day at Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's technically true.
It is technically true. I've never been on the Microsoft campus before. This is my first day at Microsoft.
What is your take on the Microsoft campus on your first day?
Oh, it's beautiful. It reminds me a lot of PayPal. I loved working at PayPal.
I didn't know you worked at PayPal.
Yeah, for 3 years. It was awesome. Absolutely loved it there. It not as big as Microsoft, of course, but campus has a similar vibe. There are just tons of people. They're having conversations, and you're just like, yeah, they're working on something that I probably use, or is something that has something built on top of that, built on top of that, built on top of that, and I use this.
You're right up here.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, man. You're here. Why are you here, by the way?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Why are we here? Why are we all here? Those deep questions that we all ask.
Not that kind of
why are
we could get into that, shall we?
I am happy to. I'm very prepared for that. So I am here for MCP Dev Days. I am an MCP dev, and
These are
a good day.
These are days.
Today's day one.
MCP. So you had a talk today where you talked about Jarvis, MCP and Jarvis. And here's what I took away from Kent's talk about MCP and Jarvis. Jarvis should exist, but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And why doesn't it exist? Like, we have all the technology, but we don't have it.
Yeah. And the real reason is the integration pain. It's just too hard to integrate technology A with B, with C, with D. There's no standard interface until now.
And MCP is supposed to solve this problem if everybody goes out and implements and does the thing.
Yeah, it's like when the browser shows up, then people are like, oh, okay, I'll write some code, and that will result in my service being available to this browser. And the browser has limitations on what it's capable of doing because it was written for users. It evolved to the point where it is now, and it's really powerful and really awesome, buttons and all that. But we want to take things further to natural language and more even agentic things. And while we have agents that can interact with the browser and just use the tools that we built for humans, we can do something much more streamlined and efficient with MCP.
So you made this really good point, Chad. He made this really good point in this session where you were saying that it's like the new web browser, and that you had all these web pages and they all have to write to the standard so that the browser can actually interpret that and then show you something, right? That you can, whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. So you can participate on the platform.
Exactly. And I remember a time, Chad, because I'm this old. I don't know how old you are. I'm this old. I do remember a time where there was a problem, and not everybody was writing code, HTML, CSS to the same spec, and not every client was implementing that spec the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And then an almost Christ-like figure by the name of Paul Irish descended upon mankind, bringing the HTML5 specification. And then it was like, after that, everything just worked. And it was like, yeah, of course things work across different clients and browsers, but for a long time they didn't. But I think what's interesting with MCP, chat, and I'm curious what your take is on this, it feels like we're just skipping that step. And everybody's just like, let's just go to the part where we all do it the same way.
Yeah. I think that a part of the problem was things were underspecified. Like there wasn't enough in the spec, and there were just big gaps. And it's very natural to, especially when you're in a competitive situation, to just like enhance your implementation so that it supports things that others can't do, and like filling in those gaps yourselves. And honestly, I kind of feel like that's the right way to go about it. Make the applications implement their own solution first, and then we know what to specify. And I think we'll actually probably experience a similar thing with MCP, because there are gaps in the spec right now. And I personally have some hacks to make it so that you can access my MCP server without authenticating first, and then authenticate through tools. And so
there's no way
yeah,
to do
right.
that
Right now with the spec, you either have access or you don't. And you like if you don't authenticate first, you can't access any of the tools. That's not the way it's written, but that's the way that it's pretty much implemented. And so there's like some ambiguity, there are gaps in the spec, but the foundation is solid, and so we can build on that. And I think that I do agree with you more generally, though. Lots of us have scars from those early days, and we're like, let's just get it right. Or at least implement it the same way and fill those gaps as quickly as possible so that as we're building on top of it, we're not doing something different. And the cool thing is, like, I had a demo today that I ran in Claude. I could run that same demo in VS Code and that same demo in ChatGPT with all of those servers, and it would work the same.
Right. It should just work everywhere. Have you heard the quote, Chad? Do you know the quote about the best thing about specifications? Do you know this joke?
No.
There's so many to choose from. All right, question for you. Why did you join? You've joined Microsoft.
Yeah.
Are you reading that right?
Yeah. So this is we were walking around campus today, and I saw the big Microsoft sign. I was like, I got to get a selfie with this. And I was looking at that. I'm like, that looks like the selfie you take on your first day.
I think everyone takes that selfie.
Yeah,
I took it. Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm gonna post this and say the first day,
because that's technically true.
Yes,
Nothing about this is a lie.
I have not been on the Microsoft campus before, so this is my first day on the Microsoft campus. That's what my follow-up tweet was.
Technically. Now, what's with the koala? This thing is everywhere.
Yeah, this is Kody, and do you want the long version or the short version?
I mean, you got a flight in 10 minutes. It's your call.
So in my workshops, I decided at some point that I wanted to, sometimes when I'm presenting the workshop, people are not following what I'm saying. And so like they'll miss something and then I'll have to repeat myself. So I was like, I'm going to just write down everything that I'm going to say and then people can follow it. But then when I did that, some people are like, yeah, I already know this. What am I supposed to do? So they would miss the spot that says, okay, now do this. And so I'll put an emoji anytime I say, now do this. And so they can read like the background. Here's why we're doing this. Now do this. And that was Terry the Tiger emoji.
Okay. All right.
And then my next workshop, I switched it to a koala for some reason. I was like, Kody with a K, like Kent with a K, Kody koala, your coding companion. And then I just stuck. And so then I got the last Amazon plush koala that looks like this. And this became Kody.
So that's the brand now.
Yeah. KentCDodds.com. You're going to see Kody doing any number of sports that I enjoy doing myself. You just refresh every time, and it's a different sport.
A different coding. Next up, chat, is a vibe coding tool from Kent C. Dodds called Kody.
Called Kody.
This actually probably exists.
So
someone's probably already made
this. Maybe even called Kody. I actually have thought about making an MCP server that makes MCP servers.
I mean, why not?
Somebody has made one. I think it was called Site MCP or something like that. Like you can natural language create an MCP server. But I think it would be cool to be able to do that through MCP. So maybe one day. Yeah.
So Chad, if you have questions for Kent on MCP, now's your chance to ask. You literally have like 8.
I've got a little bit more.
You have some buffer here. All right. Well, we may stick around depending on how good your questions are. They have to be really, really good though. Yeah. I do have a question. I have a question of my own. Kody is a coding tool from SourceGraph. Okay, that's right. Is. Yeah. So it is a thing, but it's Kody, not with a K. Ruben, I don't think it's with a K. I think it's with a C.
Yeah, maybe. I think it actually might be a K. I don't know.
The SourceGraph folks do really good work. We like SourceGraph.
They were early in this
game.
Yeah.
Yes, very early. There's a lot of great tools out there. I have a question about MCP, and it goes something like this. It's really easy to create an MCP server, and that thing can run pretty much anywhere, right? It's really just an NPM package running locally, unless you're a Python person and then you're doing whatever the heck it is that Python people do.
We're here talking about TypeScript stuff over here.
We're simple. We are but simple JavaScript devs.
Yes.
And it seems really easy because I've done it to create these MCP servers and then just walk away. And so now if you look for, say, like, a Postgres MCP server, you may find 1 or you may find 50 in various states of disrepair, right? And so the ecosystem, how do we ensure that there is a healthy ecosystem for MCP so that people know what to adopt, or they're not adopting a Postgres server that has maybe just one tool call, or they're not adopting one that's going to ask for your connection information and then, you know, sell that to someone for crypto.
Yeah, you know, MCP was designed to make it so that the server is easy and the client is hard. No, I should say rather, they didn't design it for the client to be hard, but in their efforts to make the server easy, the client has to be hard, or it's naturally going to be. And so I push like lots of this onto the client to be responsible for this. My ultimate goal, or what I want to see, is for me to natural language say something to my host application, and it just figures it out. I don't have to install a server. I don't have to decide which one to use. I don't have, like, it's going to human in the loop with me, and I'm going to approve stuff, but it's going to make sure that it's using the most appropriate tools for the query that I gave it. It's going to make sure that those tools are secure and not doing any sort of injection.
The client is doing this?
Yeah, the client does all
so
of
like
this.
this,
like the host application.
So that's VS Code's job.
Yeah, that's VS Code's job.
Interesting.
Yeah. And of course, like the servers, we have to build quality servers, or rather the quality servers must exist for the client to be able to use them. But I don't think that it should be on the person who's like the user to have to decide which tools to use. I think that
I agree with you, but it seems to me like we need, and GitHub has a session on this, chat, where they talked about this, about a registry. Because right now, what we essentially have is a bunch of these like aggregation sites where they're scraping, I think they're scraping GitHub.
Yeah.
And then it shows up on a site. I know this because when I create one, I'll get a pull request from these different like Smithery or some of these other ones, which I appreciate that folks are out here doing this, but at the same time, it creates like a million different places and you're not really sure, you know, what you're getting yourself into. So it does seem to me like we need some sort of a registry where, like, how do I know Microsoft has actually made something, right? If I use the Microsoft MCP for SQL Server, how do I know that's what that actually is, right?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the internet, and as a whole, if I go to bing.com and I do a search for a particular thing, I'm going to see, oh, that's a Microsoft.com thing. So I know it's validated that it's Microsoft because it's coming from their website. And I think that we'll have a similar thing. And in fact, there are discussions in the MCP spec discussions, right, with the steering committee about a /server JSON, like a well-known MCP server JSON thing. And so I think that we can validate the originator of the different tools. And when I say that the client or the host application should be responsible for this, I'm absolutely fine with them also having a service that they use. And in fact, I would expect that's the way it's built, is that some sort of service that they use as effectively a RAG for determining what's the most appropriate tool. Now that I have those, we're not going to have the tool like context blow up overloading problem. 128
so the agent
tools.
Picks the tool.
Yeah.
You don't pick the tool.
The agent can ask me, but the cool thing is that the agent could then remember for next time. If I say, hey, I need to pay my buddy for pizza, and it's like, well, you want to use Stripe or PayPal or Cash? I say, oh, I'll use the Cash app. Okay, great. Next time you ask to pay somebody, I know
you want to use the Cash app.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
it's like a human. Like if you hire a new assistant, they're not going to know any of your preferences, and over time they learn your preferences. But again, all of this is take work off of the user. The user should not have to do this.
But hold on. Let me jump in here. But then if I'm trying to sell something, right, and the MCP server is the way the agent is going to use my product. And Ruben, I'm going to get to your question in a minute because it's a really good one.
Oh, it's Ruben. Hey, Ruben.
Do you know Ruben?
I love Ruben.
Oh, okay. We love you, Ruben. I don't know what this Postman link is. Do you know what this is?
They must have some sort of explorer of MCP servers.
Damn, that's dope. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So here my question is, my concern is if I have a service and I am exposing that via MCP and this is how I make my money, then I want to sell that to the user, right? I want the user to know. In fact, I've done this. I've made an MCP server for YouTube and it's commercial. You have to pay to use it. It's very cheap. I did it just to see if I could Vivo Stripe.
To figure out how to
figure out like how this would actually work.
Servers, yeah.
Exactly. And so it is possible, but the question then is, then don't I then have to sell to the agent? Because if the agent is recommending to you, I'm not selling to you, I'm selling to the agent who's then going to recommend it to you.
That's exactly right. And if the agent is built properly, its goals are aligned with the user's goals, which is to accomplish the task. And if yours is the best tool for the job, then the agent's going to say, hey, I found this tool. It costs money. Are you cool with that? And you say, yeah, absolutely, I'm cool with that. Or no, find another free tool. And that's exactly what a human would do as well. You say, hey, human, I need you to do, human assistant, I need you to do this for me. They're going to go do a search and they come back and say, hey, I found these couple tools. Which one do you want me to use?
Right. And they're probably going to do that based on ratings.
Yes, exactly.
Downloads.
And here's what's so cool about this is we have PageRank, and that's what makes Google so great. But we have something even better here because once we're finished with a conversation using a bunch of tools, then the agent can report back and say, I used these tools and this one was garbage.
This did not work
this one did not work at all.
Yeah, we tried.
Don't
5
recommend
times
it in the
with this tool.
future.
Yeah.
Or it privacy can still be a part of that. It's not saying specifics. It's just like my experience, 5-star rating on this, 2-star rating on that. Like we don't give star ratings on websites we visit. All Google has is, well, they clicked on this link, then they came back and they clicked on this one. So I guess that first one wasn't right. But we can do even more.
Yeah, but then I think people like accept that Google kind of just owns, and then you have to pay Google in order to get higher.
So the
up.
monetization strategy of this, I do not know. And I'm not working on this business myself. I'd rather spend time with my kids. But I do think
you're the MCP guy. You have to solve all these problems for the businesses.
I do think that there's a lot of opportunity here. And I hope that advertising isn't the monetization strategy.
It's always the monetization strategy.
I actually have been pretty happy with software I pay for. And I appreciate that like advertising makes kind of levels the playing field. People who don't have the money to pay for it can still access the software. So there may be something with that included, but I would prefer to just say, I'm going to pay $20 a month or even $200 a month for this agent. And that's going to pay for all of the services required to run it.
So it's like a cable subscription.
Yeah,
almost.
kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
but not like in the Hulu way where they still give you ads.
or Amazon.
Or Amazon now. Yeah, goodness gracious.
Keep cranking it up on us. So this is kind of the same question I was asking about, like just like the way people have to Google search, and they're exact same thing. Mm-hmm. How would one be able to make sure that their product is actually the first to come up? I'm telling you, you're going to pay for it.
MCP SEO, like your tool descriptions are going to be loaded with those keywords. No, hopefully we find some better way. Like how did people find my blog posts? It's primarily because it's good content that people share with each other. And I think that it will be a similar thing with MCP.
Yeah, the good content does tend to. So that like you can either buy it or you can make a banging piece of content, but it really has to be banging, right? Like you're competing with the best content out there, which that's the design, is to bubble the best to the top. So here's a great question. Now that you're at Microsoft, Kent, do you think there's a chance to simplify the dev onboarding inside VS Code for beginners with built-in learning?
You know what? I literally met the person who's in charge of onboarding at VS Code today, and she seems like a very competent person. So you're in good hands.
Yeah, listen, that's great feedback though. We are aware that it isn't easy for everyone to
There's just so many things that it can do.
Ton of options.
Like, what are you trying to do here? And maybe that's a natural language solution. Like the first thing that pops up is, what are you trying to do? What's your goal here? And they just natural language say what their goal is. And then that's the onboarding.
Right.
flow.
So we were talking about this. James was talking about this, and he used the Halo 2 onboarding reference where
James is right there for those watching.
Yeah, James. Do you want to come over? Yeah. Do you want to come over here and talk about the Halo?
All right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Halo 1 or Halo 2 or Halo 3. Someone can correct me in the chat. But when you are Master Chief and for the very first time, they're introducing you, I think Cortana's talking to you, and you're sitting there and you're sort of getting ready to play the game for the very first time. The first few minutes of the game is so important because I'm just getting started with Donkey Kong. It was the same great onboarding experience. And you're Master Chief, and the first thing Cortana tells you to do is to look up. And if you're a gamer like me, you know that you play inverted or not uninverted controls. So what happens here is when you look up, people are either going to take the right joystick and go up or go down. And that is because our minds and how it works is to look up. Some people look up, but when they think of looking up, it just happens to be the joystick goes down. And then what happened is Halo on the fly set that as your control system
No
for you.
way.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Man, so you can't play on anybody else's system.
That's correct. Yeah, you can change it in the setting. You can change it in the setting. But I just thought it was such a great onboarding experience.
That's
'cause
interesting,
Like you
yeah.
said, it's like, okay, go do something, and I'm going to learn based off your action.
Yeah,
So,
that
was
is
neat.
interesting.
Yeah.
I do think though, Abdullah, you make a good point. And specifically, this is how I feel. I assume people who come into VS Code and are like, I don't know what's going on here. This is how I feel when I go into Photoshop.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I'm not a designer and there's
Yeah.
buttons everywhere.
And it's
I have
because your
no-
persona is different from who they're designing for.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
I just want to resize an image.
Mhm.
Right. And there's 65,000 buttons and none of them resize the
And
image.
this, Ruben is working on this in Postman, actually. This is why you should be able to control the app with natural language. And what if Photoshop exposed an MCP server? So yeah, sure, you have Photoshop open here, but you go to the chat app that you're used to using and it knows all your preferences. It knows that you don't know what you're talking about in Photoshop. And you just say, hey, I got Photoshop open. Can you resize this image for me? And
then it just
does it. And then you don't have to know Photoshop.
So then is the agent is then the interface? What is the interface for these tools exactly?
Yeah, well, it kind of, right now it's all just the chat history that we're used to. There's work from several people on an MCP UI. Liad and Ido are both working on this. They're fabulous people. And the idea is that your tool can actually return UI and then it can be an interactive experience. And there are a lot of reasons that we could go into with the time we don't have to of why that is such a good idea. But yeah, I think that my vision of the future is pretty much just what does Iron Man do? And what about that did I not like about that experience? Pretty much nothing. That experience is solid and it's not a chat history.
Well, it's solid because you're watching it, you're not in it. But he
he literally just says anything he wants to.
But he also has he has a display.
Sure. Yeah.
Of some sort. But
yeah, we've got a display. Like we can adapt that for the reality of the limitations of the physical technology we have.
It's because I keep hearing this. And I think even like the CEO of this company, whatever his name is habits, I forget, has said something like that before, where he said like agents will take over for what's basically been CRUD applications for a long time. So essentially, instead of going in and filling out a form, right, you now talk to an agent somehow, and that agent takes care of that in the database. My problem with this whole thing, though, is that even in my own house, in like the physical world, this doesn't work. So here's my example. I've replaced all of the light switches in my house with these Casa Wi-Fi connected switches, and they're great. By the way, free shout out to Casa. Not sponsored by Casa, not sponsored by TP-Link. TP-Link, please sponsor. But you can then say to the Echo, you can say, Alexa, turn on the bedroom lights. Okay. And then sometimes I walk into the room and I say, Alexa, turn on the bedroom lights, and the sound of my own voice grates on my ears, and I'm irritated that I even have to speak it. And what I really want is just a button that I can push, which, Kent, by the way, is called a light switch.
Yeah.
So it's like you need both of those things.
I completely agree. Another example that I used in my talk was if you say, hey, assistant, I need a stopwatch. Sometimes you're like, I need a stopwatch, I'm doing weights. And so you set your phone down and then you say, okay, start. And then you go, and then you say, okay, stop. Right. But most of the time, if you want a stopwatch, you literally want buttons to press.
Yes.
Like start,
100%.
stop. And so that's why MCP UI is so important.
Yeah.
Is because we can tell the LLM, for my service, I'm Uber. Here are the UI elements that you should display because I care about branding. I want to make sure they don't think this is coming from Lyft. And all of that is important as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, we're 6 minutes
Speaking
over.
of Uber.
Do you need to go? Do you need to go?
I should probably get going.
All right, chat. Thanks for being with us. Just to clarify, Kent is not working at Microsoft, but it is his first day at Microsoft. All those things are true. Ruben, thanks for being here. Artem, thanks for being here. Silver,
I saw somebody was asking if I have advanced MCP stuff. I do. I'm actually giving a workshop tomorrow, but it's sold out. So So go to epicai.pro and sign up, and you'll be notified next time. I'm actually planning something really big for September, so stay tuned for that.
Huge. All right, we got to go. How do I end the stream?
You hit end stream.
Where's up in the right hand corner?
See ya.
This one here.
And end it again.
So
Love
click
you
it
all.
once and then click it twice.
Yeah.
How do I?
Bye.
All right, and it's ended.